Hey, welcome back to page 3. I'm Ellie.
And I'm Sydney.
And today we are also going to do another kind of chill episode, just like chitty chat, talk about our opinions, and we're going to do overhyped things, underhyped, and then misunderstood.
And they're all like super random. Like none of these are like meant to be super intense or anything. They're literally our opinions, take them or leave them. Like that's the whole point. It's like supposed to be just our own take. If you saw last week's episode, or whatever week it was, we did like a sit down and catch up with us and chill vibe. So that's either coming out after this or before this. But yeah, so we just wanted to do something casual like that. We don't need to like give you any crazy advice or anything. We just want you to hang out with us while we share our...
And the world is crazy right now. So it's good to just like sit
and relax
and just talk about
fuck all.
Yeah, literally. Okay, do you want to go first for your overhyped?
Sure. Okay, my overhyped is cottage cheese / protein. And let me explain. First of all, if you like cottage cheese, I don't believe you. Okay? So let me get that out of the way right now. There is no fucking way that you like something that looks like curdled milk. I just don't believe you. I do not. At all. And I am a lover of cheese and dairy. I live in the fucking dairy state. If you like cottage cheese, I just don't believe you.
Cheese, how do you make cottage cheese?
I have no clue. I'm pretty sure. Well, I know that cheese is mold in general, right? Like a lot of cheese is mold or like it's purposely pasteurized. I don't actually know. I don't even want to get into the science of it because I don't understand well enough. But if you like cottage cheese, I don't believe you. And I'm really sorry. And I hope you enjoyed and it makes you happy. But like, no. We don't need to be making cottage cheese bagels. We don't need to be putting cottage cheese in smoothies. We don't need to make the cottage cheese ice cream people are making. Can we get a grip?
Literally.
We don't need that.
We don't.
It does not need to be in everything. It's a craze that has taken over the internet and everybody feels the need to eat cottage cheese with everything.
Yeah.
No. Eat something else. Eat yogurt. I don't know. I can't. But the protein thing is that I think that it's become this really overhyped thing to intake as much protein in every bite of food as possible. Like, not only are we going to have eggs and whatever with breakfast, but then as our snack, we're going to have protein powder in oatmeal. And then as our next step, we're going to have protein powder covered popcorn. And then, like, guys, I'm going to be really real with you for a sec. First of all, unless you are like a bodybuilder or you are like because I know that people that are like on journeys to like build muscle and like work on their physique and things like that like are working out for like that purpose, like there's a lot of people that do bulk and cut and things like that, then like yes, you are probably controlling your protein intake for that purpose. However, if you are a normal person who's just like pretty active person, you're just doing your thing, getting through life, you do not need to be consuming 200 grams of protein a day. You don't. How are you shitting? Are you good? Like, you do not need to be consuming 200 grams of protein a day. That's insane, okay? Second of all, I think it's very misunderstood why it's overhyped. That, like, it's so overhyped because we have seen all of these people go online and be like, what I eat in a day, high protein, low calorie, blah, 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 blah. And let me tell you, it's fucking January, so the fucking calorie police are out, and they're all like, make sure you get skinny, eat low calorie, blah, blah, blah. So now the protein thing is like back in full surgence again. I saw this TikTok the other day that was like, do you think protein even wants to be in all these things? Do you think that protein wants to be in popcorn? And like, if this is something that you're doing for health reasons or because you really enjoy it and you're liking what you're eating every day, like, don't let me be the one to stop you. However, I think we need to get a bit of a grip on reality here and realize that, like, if you eat some well-balanced meals and you eat some eggs with your breakfast or some whatever, or some oatmeal, some yogurt, whatever, and then for lunch, you have some chicken, you have some veggies, okay? We have a balanced meal happening. For dinner, you either have chicken or turkey or fish or whatever. Guys, you're fine. Like, you're really fine. First of all, you don't even necessarily have to have protein in every meal. Like, I think that's like just a really overhyped concept that everybody is scared of, like, not having the correctly balanced diet because every year we get told that a new diet is the best diet and that, like, a new way to consume these things that nobody even likes is like the best way to do it. Like, I'm sorry, this is how I feel about the cottage cheese thing, is that we're all trying to like force ourselves to like cottage cheese so we'll turn it into ice cream. Just eat ice cream. You're not gonna die if you eat ice cream. And I know that is rich coming from me, but you are really not gonna die. Like, you're gonna be fine. And I don't want to, like, I know that I just feel it in my bones that somebody out there is gonna be like, you've don't understand like people being scared of eating ice cream because of eating. Believe me, bro, I'm really not coming at it from that angle, like at all. I'm more just saying that it's so overhyped on the internet, the need to consume this like insane high protein diet as if you are training to be like an Olympic athlete, like you're training to be a professional athlete. And we're subjecting teenage girls to eating like a linebacker. Like, that's a little insane. And like, if you want to have your avocado toast for breakfast with some fruit and some yogurt, and then you want to have normal popcorn as a snack, you want to have a fucking potato chip, and then at lunch you're like, hey, protein shake plus like maybe some chicken, maybe some veggies, whatever. And then you're like, for dessert tonight, cookie. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah.
I think we have underhyped balance and overhyped the ever living shit out of protein. Like, I don't also like, and maybe this is because not everybody knows this and it's easy to circulate shit on the internet, but like for protein to affect you the way that the internet is telling you, like eating protein makes you fuller longer and it builds muscle and all these things, it has to be a complete protein. Okay. It has to be a complete protein. A lot of protein powders out there are not complete proteins. A lot of this like synthetic protein stuff that's like snacks that are like protein snacks, like protein Cheez-Its, protein this, like it's not a complete protein. So you're not even getting the benefits that are being so hyped up to you that you feel like you have to eat this even if you don't like it in order to maintain these benefits. When in reality, like eat a chicken breast.
Or, don't.
Or don't. Literally, how about eat whatever you want? How about we stop talking about what people eat on the internet?
I could not agree with you more. I also think that it's the pursuit of being so healthy. It's like that you become,
so far around the corner, you come back on the other side.
We were talking about how sometimes there are people that go so far left or so far right, they come back around. It's like you go so healthy that you swing back around to unhealthy. Like monitoring what you eat that much also could be called an eating disorder.
And I know that there's like degrees of that. Like I know people that have done like weightlifting shows and bodybuilding and things like that. And that is like, I know that there's a lot of conversation around bodybuilding culture and if that's healthy or not. I personally have no desire to do it, but I get that people that like work so hard that get so into it. Like I can understand where you're coming from. And there's so much conversation that we could have about like if that culture is healthy or not. But I think that and like there's a level of discipline that comes out. Like if you follow Hope on TikTok, she posts like weightlifting content. She did a bunch of bodybuilding shows and she talks about how like her cut where she was losing all the weight was like the worst experience of her life. And it was like really an exercise in discipline for her, not in eating. And whatever. There's like
the joy of eating.
So much conversation about this we could have. However, I do think the reason that cottage cheese is overhyped in my opinion because I just don't believe you like it. Like I believe it tastes like shit. I believe the texture is wrong. If you want to eat something that looks like curdled milk, you're fucked in the head. Second of all, protein is overhyped because if we are making it a trend to pack as much protein in something, if we're making that a TikTok trend, we are literally making it a trend to monitor what people eat on the internet. That is so fucking weird. Like that is so fucking
I also think it's really weird when people when they'll be like, what is it? Like, dietitian here. And they'll like
rate people's meal of the day.
Yeah. Dietitian here. This looks good. Also, dietitian is also a thing that's overhyped. Those motherfuckers are scammers. Unless you're a nutritionalist, by the way, dietitians are like literally like.
I mean, unless you have a degree, it's just not real. Like unless
just not even real. But even dietitians aren't actually even good for you. You want to go to a nutritionalist, not a dietitian, because there's like a difference that I can't really remember. But like, anyways, it's always so weird when people and then like when doctors like pop in and they're like in their scrubs and they're like, dermatologist here. This skincare routine fucking sucks. Don't buy any of these products. Like I understand like the de-influencing and I'm appreciative sometimes when people are like it's not really that worth it because I think there's like such an oversurgence of like buying products and like overconsumption and all those things. But I don't know, the eating thing is just like
I just think that we don't need to make something food related. Like I like when recipes trend. I'm down with that. I loved when the Ninja Creamy recipes were trending because I have one of those. So totally give me ideas. I'm super into that. But like we don't need to make it a trend to make sure that we're projecting onto everybody that we're eating 300 grams of protein a day.
Like an insane amount of protein.
Yeah.
You're supposed to eat the amount of protein that's like you're supposed to do it based on your body weight per
also,
meal.
Like you can also just like eat.
You just eat your food.
And like most of the time, I'll be really real with you, unless you have gone to a doctor and gotten blood work done that says, hey, you're lacking in iron, you're lacking in this, you're lacking in that, then you're fine. And if you're eating a normal diet, then you're really fine. And also like everybody has their days. Like literally yesterday, me and Ellie were like, oh my God, we're going to have like these chips and these things. And we had chocolate croissants for breakfast and whatever. And then like some days I'll wake up and I'll have like a yogurt and a protein shake and whatever. Like life is balance, balance is life, right?
Yeah.
And if you like cottage cheese, I think you're a freak. That's my overhyped one. You go.
Okay, so my overhyped is core power. Now, this one is multifaceted to me. Number one, because I am a really a big believer in the I love that people have found like what.
Keep in mind, I teach a core power-esque class.
Well, let me say this. Overhyped is corporate workouts. So, okay, what I mean by that is like core power, solid core. I went to this place called Karen Lord Pilates.
Have you heard of Tracy Anderson?
Tracy Anderson. We have like fucking Equinox. No, Soul Cycle. Soul Cycle, I actually kind of love Soul Cycle. But you know what? Like those types of corporate, oh my God, I'm scared about this. I don't fully feel like, okay, but let me say this.
Don't you think they're overhyped?
I think they're a bit overhyped, but for a different reason than you may believe. I think that there's something so beautiful about going to a place. Like I go to a yoga studio and it's like a mom and pop shop, hot yoga. I love it. I support the owners. It's great. It's true yoga. It's like really in alignment, I believe, or the closest I found to alignment of what real yoga practice looks like. And I think that that needs to be coming back in the surgence of like core power, yoga sick.
I think Yoga 6 went bankrupt.
They did because they had a political scandal.
I heard about this. Anyway, continue.
And good riddance. They were horrible anyways. I went there.
Never been.
Horrific. But anyways, those places to me are just very like taking something that is like a true like mindful meditation practice, a really like cultural thing, and then you're exploiting it to be a like, let me look how cutesy like my body is in my like Pilates outfit. Like believe me, like I've gone to a Pilates class and I fucking loved it. Like I can't lie to you, but there's just something that really irks my blood about like the hot yoga that is corporate to me. I really just cannot get behind it at all. And I don't know. I just think that people and I see people that are going to like 3 workouts a day. What the fuck are you on? Also like posting your workouts. You know what's actually really overhyped is when people bring their phone into your class and you film yourself doing the fucking workout. If you're doing that, actually fuck you. And I'll tell you why. Nobody else in that room signed up to be fucking filmed. And if you're filming yourself, you're probably getting somebody else in the background. I have had a situation where I've been in a hot yoga class sweating my dick off, okay? And this lady in front of me had her camera up and I was like, are you fucking serious? This makes me not even want to work out. Also, you're not supposed to have, do you see the fucking no phone sign? Do not bring your fucking phone. Also, why do you think it's okay to just randomly film people in a workout class? It's like the most vulnerable thing. That's like going to the fucking bathroom. It's actually, so it could be worse than going to the bathroom. Like, are you serious? I don't want people correcting my form. I don't want people commenting on that. I hate that. I hate when people film their workouts. I hate all of the like health influencers that are like, oh, like come with me to my like heated workout and like watch my like super fit body that's definitely on Ozempic. Go and like squat myself on this machine. Like F that. Actually, F that.
I think that they're overhyped because I've taken core power classes and I really like them. I've taken a solid core class that I really liked. And it's not necessarily the classes or the instructors or any of that. I think my issue with the corporate workout is that all of them have trended in a way, and I don't know whose fault this is, but all of them have trended in a way that project them as the next solution to your insecurity. And I have a problem with that because like the studio that I work at is also like mom and pop style. Like it's not a huge chain. They only have locations in our area. It's run by these 2 people and their whole thing is not like work out to look better, work out to get abs. Like their whole thing is like name of studio is for everybody, for everybody, for every person, for everything. Their whole concept is like mindfulness. If they make us give a speech, I mean, they don't make us, but they encourage you at the beginning of your classes or at the end to make an announcement being like, if this is the only 45 minutes you have to yourself today, like, we're so grateful that you chose to do it with us. And that like, we hope that you set an intention today and feel proud of yourself for showing up and know that the fact that you're even here and that your body allows you to do this is such a wonderful fucking thing. And I think that versus then we have Solidays, which if you guys don't know Solidays, like I think this is kind of where you were going with this, is that like Solid Core had this thing where like you could get a Solid Core tattoo and get like X amount of classes or credits or something through them. They had another thing, Solidays, where if you go, I don't know the number and I don't do Solid Core, so I know that I'm going to be wrong about this, but it was basically if you complete X amount of classes by X day, you get a free crew neck. And people were spending hundreds of dollars on solid core classes to get this piece of flimsy ass merch. And it's like they have claimed to be the solution of like every one of these corporate studios for whether it's Pilates or cycling, whatever. All of their taglines, except for Soul Cycle, I really do think because they do the candle and the whole like a thing. Like I don't think they really claim this. All of these things claim like results in X days, be your strongest self. We are the new revolution of Pilates where we focus on core and abs and you look like this. And I think selling that is where I have a problem with them versus like other practices, because obviously you go to a true yoga studio and mine has that as well, but that's not necessarily all of it. But they're not projecting this like, we are the power, come to this.
Well, I think it is that, but I also do think I really get frustrated with the oversurgence and like overhype of these workouts that then become a performance instead of a giving to yourself. It's this like rah, like let's all like beat our chest and go in and like really like hit it. And then I also just think that there's like something so overhyped, and I think I've watched so many people like, oh my God, I saw this video one time where this like instructor came in and she was like, you spent $30 to be here. Like I see you being weird in the back and
don't
like,
take a break. Why would you take a break when you spent the money to show up to my class? Like that's like harshing.
It's like being in tune with like the cult of the place and not like the actual being of like being in your body and doing workouts and like feeling really grounded in yourself. And like that's what like yoga is all about. And that's why I think I've seen these like heated workouts, and it's just like it's about like pushing so hard so fast and doing all these things, and it's like
really, how much you sweat versus are you there.
I think I really love like a third space that is truly like a family center, and I feel so loyal to my yoga studio, and I felt so safe, and I discovered so much about myself and the power of breath and the power of meditation and all of these different things. And I think I get frustrated when I see other people change it into this like, oh, you go to hot yoga and like all these things, and I don't know, I feel very passionately about it.
Okay, my second one is my underhyped.
Okay.
And I think movie scores are incredibly underhyped and not talked about enough. I'm a film major, and I like when I watch a movie, I feel like this sounds so pretentious, but I feel like I watch it with a different lens, probably the same way you feel like you read differently because you're a writer. There are certain things that just like to be a good movie in my eyes has to include these things, and they're not always like these cinematic movies that everybody talks about. It's like something as simple as an Adam Sandler movie, but if it includes these like list of things, and I think we are not paying attention to movie scores enough. I don't see a lot of discourse about it. I don't see it a lot on the internet other than like Justin Horowitz and Hans Zimmer because everybody talks about those, but like I don't think we're paying attention to more than that. Like that can make or break a movie in my eyes. I listen to scores while I study. I listen to scores while I read. Don't know if people are circulating the names of the people that are like doing the composition for these things enough. Like I don't think we're giving them enough credit. I think we're talking about like celebrity star-studded movies being like Jacob Elordi, Sydney Sweeney, all these people were in this movie. And then nobody's talking about this insane fucking composer that did the most ridiculous score for this. And so anyway, I think they're super underhyped. I
think that there's something to be said about the way that if you do a beautiful job at acting, that's great. But if you have a really beautiful soundtrack, like it adds so much more to the movie. Like there have been soundtracks like for Heated Rivalry, Twilight. Like Twilight, the soundtrack for those movies saved those fucking movies, I swear. Heated Rivalry is the same way, like not saved it. Like that was a beautiful thing ever anyways, but the soundtrack was so intentional. And like I know you're talking about score, but I think that their music in pieces adds so much. Like if you take them out of like the Avengers movie, it would not hit the same. It would not hit as hard. In the score for Harry Potter, it would not hit the same.
I just think that we're not giving them enough credit. I think we're not talking about them enough. And I don't know if it's just that like people are not as aware of them as they are. Like, because I think totally agree with you about the soundtrack thing, but I think like soundtracks get more attention maybe. It depends on the movie.
Yeah.
Like I think it really depends on the movie. Like people talked about the Formula 1 F1 movie soundtrack so much because it was like star-studded. Like Tate McRae, it had Diplo maybe or Disco Lines. I'm not into EDM, so I don't know. And then it also had like Chris Stapleton. So people talked about that like so much and whatever, but like, and like people talk about Justin Horowitz in La La Land all the time. Like everybody knows that. The Interstellar score. But there's just so many more that I think we're not giving enough attention to. Like if you've ever watched The Outsiders, the score for The Outsiders, like we're not talking about that enough. It's amazing. The score for Whiplash, we're not talking about that enough. And so I just think that they're underhyped. Like I think people give so much, like obviously there's incredible actors and incredible directors and they should get the hype they're getting for the performances they're putting on. But like, damn, we're not giving enough credit. to the scores, like, and to the soundtracks and to all of that. Like, I think we need to be talking about scores more. I think they're so underhyped. I think if you want to study the best studying music instead of instrumental, listen to a score. Nothing gets me hyped like that. That's my underhyped.
My underhype is the Notes app. And that's because I have 536 notes currently open. You can scroll and see all of the things that I keep on here. I have every book I've ever read. I have a quote book. I have like nice things that people have said to me. I have podcast ideas. I have like the Year of the Fire Horse, and I have page 3 descriptions. I have when Syd comes, like where we're going, when she comes to visit me in California. I have like all of my notes to self about like things that I want to do. Like life is very overwhelming. And I think that when I get really overwhelmed on social media because everyone is telling me like, oh my God, you need to do red light therapy and blue light therapy, and you also need to go in a sauna, and then you need to do a cold plunge, and then you also need to be doing like 25 jumping jacks, do that like little vibrating machine thing that like drains your lymph nodes, do lymphatic massages, get a massage, get a facial, do like dry brushing, do face masks. Here's 10 different products. Here's 10 different brands of clothing you should wear. This hoodie would look really good on you. Here's your color theory. Are you winter? Are you spring? Are you summer? Are you fall? And if you're not in that color wheel, then like, oh my God, like you're not dressing right for yourself. It's very overwhelming to be on social media and to be constantly told what you need to be doing. And therefore, every time I get overwhelmed and I feel like I need to do something, I will pull up my nifty difty Notes app, and I will just right here, and I'll make like a little title for it, and I'll be like overwhelmed. Just so simple, right?
Yeah.
And I will just put everything down like this. And Notes app over here is note to self, red light therapy and lymph drain. I just put it down that I needed to do those things, walked away. And it made me feel instantly better about how overwhelmed I was. I also have another one that keeps notes of all of the things that I do for therapy. And I have my manifestations. I have my dermatologist, all of the things that she gave me. It's right here on your phone. I have good lines that people have told me. I have things I want to put in my novel. I have ideas. I have fantasy novel idea. I have my thoughts on cancel culture. I have my thoughts on like if I see a random video and I want to like kind of engage with it, but I don't want to comment because commenting is a scary world. I will just put all my things in here. I bragged up about the podcast. I have things I need to tell my mother. I have things about I Who Have Never Known Men, the book that we read. I have this wonderful woman that I met when I was working at Coach. I have all of her wisdom that she's ever given me. Anger. I have a whole thing on all of my anger and where it comes from and how I feel. And it's like a journaling central, and it's right with me. If I get angry at somebody, if I'm feeling angry in any certain situation, I just put it in my Notes app and I just brain dump on this beautiful little thing that was created, and I just let it fly.
Yeah, I don't utilize the Notes app at all.
I love that.
Only utilize the Notes app for Ellie in the sense that like if we need something to if we need like a list of things for the podcast, reminders, details, ideas, things, like I put them in a shared Notes app. I only use it for the purpose of like co-collaborating on things with Ellie, like podcast stuff, because I know that like the easiest way for us to both be engaging is if I make it accessible on Notes app or vice versa, just because then it's like on your phone and accessible to you, versus like if I share like a document with you, you would still use it, but it wouldn't be as natural to you.
I also think that I feel very passionately about the Notes app because it feels very chill. Like it's less overwhelming. Like it's all of my thoughts in this place that's very doesn't need to be organized. Like there's no there's no demanding nature about it. Like you could just be chill and it just sits in my Notes app. All right, what did you do?
Okay. What's very misunderstood to me is weightlifting. And I'm just gonna like weightlifting as a whole right here, because here's the thing. I'm like, when I was having health issues and all of these things, like one of the biggest advices to me was to weightlift because it had to do with like insulin levels and things and building new muscle tissue and new muscle cell, which helps with your insulin. It's a long story. Everybody will tell you, you'll see it everywhere. You could literally look up weightlifting, and I bet this will be in the first 3 videos you watch. Weightlifting makes you bulky. I don't want to weightlift because I don't want to look manly. I don't want to weightlift because guys. You won't. You literally won't. Unless you're doing the overhyped protein intake plus lifting you're pushing 250 every time you bench press. I mean, unless you are really hucking up weight. And even then, like, it's really, really hard to build muscle at that capacity, like at the capacity that you think would quote unquote look bulky. And it's scientifically and biologically easier for men to bulk up, quote unquote, while weightlifting because of their hormones, right? So unless you are a woman consuming hundreds and hundreds of grams of protein and correlating your workouts to ensure time under tension, reps, like the reps to weight ratio, all of that stuff, like you're working with a coach, like you're really not going to get bulky. Second of all, classical Pilates that was like designed to be a form of physical therapy. Classical Pilates was not designed to be this like workout, so to speak. It was really designed to like help heal people. So a lot of times you'll see a company or a studio label their thing as Pilates. And what you're taking is essentially a HIIT class where you're doing Pilates-esque movements, like mat Pilates-esque movements in the sense that you're doing like a lot of oblique, a lot of balance work, a lot of, get this, low weight, high rep. Okay. When in reality, I hate to tell you, you're just weightlifting. Okay. Like I teach a class at a studio and I've never claimed for it to be Pilates. I mean, the studio doesn't either. But like, for example, if you are taking a 5-pound weight in a heated room and doing like lean backs with your bicep curl, like you're on your knees and you're like using your core and leaning back and bicep curls, that is literally weightlifting. And you're not getting bulky. So when you go online and you say, or you see people saying like, oh my God, how'd you sculpt your body like that? How'd you become that? And they're like, oh, Pilates. Girl, they weightlifted. I promise you. I promise you they weightlifted. And if we just want to ignore that entire half of the conversation and just talk about how weightlifting is misunderstood, then let's just do that for a second. If you take a 10-pound weight and you literally just do normal reps, like say you're doing 10 reps of everything, but you're not going to get bulky. And I am the living evidence of such because I didn't start doing sculpt, Pilates. I did Fuse for a while. Before I started doing any of them, I had a PCOS diagnosis and I literally in the span of 1 month gained 40 pounds and it was a little bit of a blow to an ego for an 18-year-old, okay? And wasn't really feeling good about myself as somebody who has grown up doing sports their whole life. Did gymnastics my whole life. Then when I had an injury, I switched to water polo for the next half of my life. I'm an active gal. Okay. And when I got diagnosed with PCOS, they basically told me while I was focusing on healing myself that I really should work on weightlifting because of the new muscle cell it creates and how that distills your insulin and all of these things. And you can do your own research on that, deal with that with a professional, but that's what I was told by my doctor. And I started weightlifting and I'm not going to go into like how much weight I lost or like my transformation or whatever it is. However, I did not bulk up. If I flex for you right now, you're not going to see a big fat fucking bicep. Okay. You're not going to see a gigantic tricep. My quads aren't fucking super mega defined. Okay. And all I did was weightlift. I literally weightlifted for probably a whole year straight and did not do any other workout. I did not do Pilates. I didn't even do yoga. I was not doing anything but weightlifting once a day, every single day. And so I just encourage you, this is why I think it's misunderstood, that types of workouts like we talked about, like the corporate workouts and things like that, like everybody knows that in 2016 solid core was, cycle was the shit. Now cycling's kind of coming back. There's new studios opening. Reformer Pilates was a major thing a year ago. Now mat Pilates are the thing. Mm-hmm. Then it was like hot sculpt was a thing. And now it's not just hot sculpt, but it's like hot weighted HIIT. And like then berries was a thing. Workouts trend excessively. And I really encourage you before you like just buy into something that you really like do your research on it and think about it, because weightlifting will not make you bulky. It's actually, many doctors have told me this. Many doctors have told my parents this, that as you get older, obviously your bone density deteriorates, and weightlifting is one of the number one ways to slow down the deterioration of bone density so that your longevity of your bones and your ability to walk and talk and take care of yourself and things like that, weightlifting is a huge supplement to that. And so I think it's very misunderstood. But if you have been misinformed that you are doing Pilates by doing weighted sculpt, I hate to be the one to tell you, but you're not. It's weightlifting and you're not bulky. Okay. I feel really passionately about that. Anyways, you go, sister.
Well, one thing I'll say also about the whole, when I said core power and all of those like corporate workouts are overhyped, I also think one of the things that really frustrates me about them is how expensive they are and how like insane it is that people are willing to spend like $300 a month to go to these workouts. And like, I don't know, it's really frustrating to me because I think that workouts should be accessible to a lot of people. And I think that like the pretentious, like elitist nature of like Pilates and all of these things like really bugs me, because I think that it should be for everybody and it should be more reasonably priced. And I think that the like expensiveness of like going to like SoulCycle and to go all these places is insane.
It feels very elitist, like we're reserving these workouts that are trending, that everybody's claiming to be the most amazing thing ever.
The thing that I think is going to be misunderstood is publishing. And I have many opinions on this, and I think there's a lot that I could cover about it. But one of the biggest things that I think is misunderstood is that authors are now required. It's not like publishing companies will very rarely do the marketing for you when it comes to like marketing your book or any of those things. Like it's reserved for some of the biggest selling authors. So if an author, let's say like Stephen King, is coming out in the same year that you are by a publishing company, I don't really know what publishing house he's under, but let's say it's HarperCollins. It wouldn't be like it. Let's say it's a Penguin Random House. If it's a big one like that, then they will spend almost all of their marketing money on a big time author like that, or, you know, any of the famous ones. And then they will spend none of the money on your marketing for your book. So now authors are required to do their own marketing and become a social media presence. And a lot of them don't want to be a social media presence because obviously when you're an author and you're an artist, like a lot of people just don't gravitate towards that. And if you're a writer, at least a lot of the people that I've experienced are not like extroverted and don't want to do the whole online publish yourself because it's just an uncomfortable aspect and a lot of people don't really like that. And so now people are required to market their own books, hence the whole surges of book talk. And then you have to make your book look interesting online and do all these things and pull quotes out of context. And now everyone's focused on how the marketability of the book instead of how good a book actually is, which means that a lot of books that are published aren't what I would say it used to be because it is now just not really accurate. And like a lot of people are now focused on how to spend the bulk of their time marketing themselves and paying people and paying like tens of thousands of dollars to get themselves marketed for their book to even have a shot at being any sort of successful because the publishing company won't do it for you. And the money that they pay you is probably a fraction, if not way less than you think it is. And the whole publishing industry in like a very short way to say it is a complete fucking dumpster fire and littered with so many issues. It's actually unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I also think it's interesting because I know this is a bad example because she's like so popular and is like they are doing so much publicity for her, but like Frida McFadden is like an alias and she wears a wig and all these things because she was a doctor. She is a doctor. She's a physician. Is that the same thing? She's a physician and she didn't want like to her patients to recognize her. She just like she wanted to be a physician when she was at work and an author when she was at home. And that was really important to her was that separation. And so obviously like they're doing a lot of publicity for her. But if she was a small author, like she's not going to want to come on and be a social media presence because she has a complete life outside of just these books.
I'll say just support your indie bookstores. And that is the way that the publishing company can hopefully restore any semblance of peace at all ever.
And also like support authors. Like, for example, like I don't know necessarily how you would feel one day about being subjected to running your own campaign for your book. Like that's a big ask, especially like, do you want to present yourself on the internet that way? Are you ready to make your entire Instagram and your entire TikTok dedicated to showing this very vulnerable part of yourself and piece of artwork and subject it to all these opinions, but then you have to be the one in charge of that, like directing that narrative? That's a big ask. Definitely support your small bookstores and support if you see a small artist posting that they are releasing this book and it sounds interesting to you, like do them the favor and order that book from them. And
pre-orders help a lot. By
pre-order and leave an honest comment, recommendation.
Yeah, do all the good things you know how to do. It's the most helpful thing for an author. And also just engaging with them in general is very helpful about it. Just the damage, I think that it just generally, I mean, like art is the way through life in my personal opinion. I think art saves humanity in a lot of ways. And I think art is like, yeah, like it's just it's just one, I think it's like one of the most important pillars of society. And so when it becomes a corporate cog, I think that our art was never meant to be like a factory setting. And I will say this over and over and over and over again because I just think that there's so much damage that has been done by trying to market art to be something it's not. And I think with writing specifically, I mean, that's a whole different craft in and of itself. And it's really hard to see it fall in that way. And I also think that there's like, I don't know. It's also sad because I watch like my fellow artists who are so great at what they do and so amazing at their writing. And then I think, well, okay, if there have been some books I've read where I'm like, what the actual fuck is this shit? So then it gives me hope that I'll be published one day. And that's, you know what? That's all we have for you today. I hope if you enjoyed this episode, I hope you enjoyed it. And all of our ramblings. Read my book when it comes out.
I just keep thinking if the Haunting Adeline gun scene can get published, that you can get published.
If that fucking candy cane scene can get published, I can get published.
I forgot that existed.
And you know what? Yeah. And you know what? That's all we have. We'll see you in the next chapter.
Okay. Love you guys. Hey. It's book of the month time.
Okay, if you
Yay.
have been reading along with us and enjoying Book of the Month, then you know that we are almost done. We're like halfway through now, I guess, or over halfway through if
I
you've
was
been
gonna say, I
reading.
think we're almost done.
And yeah, so I have so many thoughts about this one section. I feel like it really started to pick up here. A lot of
Yeah.
things are really happening and cooking. So I'm very excited about the book
Yeah.
and everything.
And if you weren't following along, we've been reading Remain by Nicholas Sparks and M. Night. And this is the second to last week that we've been reading it, but feel free to hop on the bandwagon whenever.
It's a really good book. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So I have like a lot, you can't even see it really, but a long notes app of like scroll pace of opinions. So I don't know how you want to do this, Sid. Do you want to just go first and tell me your opinion? Or yeah, I guess we'll just do it that way.
Okay, so this section was 17 through 24, I believe, for the chapters. And so I typed these as I was reading, like put down book, open notes app. So a lot of them are incoherent. However, the first note I have is I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I, at this point, think now there's some clarity because I finished the section. But at the beginning, I was really confused because they were introducing the whole she might have been murdered, and they got to the idea that, like, apparently it was ruled a suspicious death and not an accident. But that is just strange to me because I don't know if this is like based on if that can really happen in real life. So like that just threw me for a loop because I was like, if it was suspicious, like why is the person that can see ghosts the only one investigating this further? Like, why are we not asking more questions about this? So
Totally.
that's why I was confused. And then he tried to kiss her, the power went out. What the fuck is happening? Because at this point, I'd kind of reserved myself to believing that nothing was going to happen between them just because even when he got close to her, she kept like flickering in and out, and he kept talking to Oscar about how like he thought she was just going to disappear soon and like all this stuff. So obviously like I didn't know what was happening in the love story front, but I didn't think anything physical was going to happen between them because it didn't feel like relevant to the plot, I guess, or like that it was a plot point in general. So anyway, I was really confused when he tried to kiss her and she disappeared and then the power went out and like all the things happened back to back and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Also, I'm still not over the fact that Polly, that's his cat's name, that Polly knows she exists
Yeah.
because every time she's there, she like pats the seat and Polly comes next to her. So then I'm like, can Polly see ghosts too? Like, is Polly connected to the afterlife? Aren't cats like a big sign of like things like that? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. Then I said, this is getting crazy. She was murdered. Could it be Dax's wife who killed her? So when they were talking about all the suspects, I didn't think it was any of the men. I at no point thought it was any of the three suspects they listed, like Dax, Nash, and I can now not remember the third one already, which is Griffin. Yes. I did not think it was any of those three ever. I thought it was the scorned wife, like Dax's now wife that was his ex, like.
Wait, did you think that before chapter 24?
Yeah.
When she like screams like she's a fucking psychopath?
Before that, I thought that.
Really?
I wrote
Okay.
this under chapter 19.
Ooh, okay.
And this was right around when Rent was explaining, like, he came to see me, he was in love with me, and he stalked me, and blah, 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 blah. And I immediately was like, okay, it's not the man. It's the scorned woman. Like, nothing crazier than a woman in love. That's just the truth. So I was like, I think it's the woman. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I said, I can't stop thinking about how Oscar keeps asking how well Tate really knows Ren.
That was tea.
Because the more he said that and the more that they're like, you know how you kept getting the internal monologue of like, how well do I really know Ren that he was having? The more I was thinking, I had two hypotheses at this point. One was that he was going to wake up. It was all a dream and he was going to wake up in the psych ward and it was going to be post his sister's death. And he was like, this was how he was grieving and how he was dealing with it.
Okay.
Or because the questioning of like, how well do I really know this made me think like, is this real?
Yeah.
Secondly, I was wondering if maybe she was like the antagonist in a way. Like I knew she was murdered. I believed that part. But when they kept saying like, how well do you really know Ren? I didn't know if she was like purposely leading them astray by telling all these stories about the men, whatever. And then I wrote, I think Reese could have done it. Did Reese do it? Is Luis in on it? because the way that Luis, and I don't know if she was in on it from the beginning, but the way that she kept being like, and you're sure you saw her, and you're sure she said she was murdered. Are you for sure positive she said that? Tripped me out a little bit. However, I did have a second portion where I thought it could be Aldrich, the guy that owns the property, because at the very end of chapter 14 slash beginning of, or sorry, at the very end of chapter 24, beginning of chapter 25, like that, like 3 pages, they said something about Aldrich canceling their meetup, like to talk about the whole thing. And that sussed me out because I was like, why is he canceling? He hasn't been here the whole time, and he thought that they weren't meeting up ever. Yeah. So yeah, then I said something seems fishy about the 3 prospects. I don't think it's any of them. I really think it's Reese. And that's where I ended on chapter 24.
Okay. I love that.
Those are just like all my hypothesis. None of that was like my opinions, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I think I wrote, so I opened up chapter 17 to 24 and I said, why is Reese so gung-ho on him not thinking into it? Like, he was like, she was like desperately being like, please don't look into the murder. Like, please, 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 please. I'll never forget what she looked like in that bathtub, and like so gung-ho on it that no, don't be so whatever. And then
yeah.
I also loved in this section the different accounts of who she was. I love Oscar. I love the fact that he's so down. And I think that it's interesting, and I think that's something that wasn't brought up by Oscar of why he would believe Tate is because he figured out this information, a lot of niche information about Ren's life that wouldn't have been, he would have no ability to know it otherwise. Like when he went to like the toy store and he was like telling him all this information, like he had like concrete facts and evidence that he would never have known otherwise, like if he didn't speak to the direct person. So I thought that was like something that they didn't bring up. And then I love that they kissed. Her nighttime version is really scary, like truly, like it is so really well depicted. It's so eerie. I also love the pacing of the story, and I love that it's not like the entire time you know that this is a murder. The entire time you aren't suspicious of certain people. The entire time, like the way that this story is like woven together is like it started as like his journey, and then it happens that he stumbled upon this thing, and it seems very seamless in that sense of like I didn't start to become suspicious of people or feel that like tension of a mystery novel until all of this started to kind of come together, and the authors kind of brought it together in that sense.
It was so well developed that way.
It wasn't fully a romance. It wasn't fully a mystery. It wasn't fully like sci-fi. Like it was really beautifully living in that gray area of all 3 of them. And I loved that.
Yeah.
And then I said again that I thought it was Luis because he said he would have needed a key on page 246. And that was weird to me because they're assuming that a man killed her. So that was weird to me. And then I also thought it was suspicious that if the guests were staying there, like if the guests were staying in the house, this got answered in the next section, but if the guests were staying there, how did it take them multiple days to find her body? Like that just doesn't make any sense. Like if there are guests going in and out, like bodies decompress, they have a smell, it's a whole thing. Like you're telling me nobody noticed that somebody was dead in a bathtub? Nobody. That's so crazy.
I don't know what section this got answered in, but at some point he kept pressing Luis and being like, well, what if they parked on the street? Well, what if they did this? Well, what if they did that? And she just kept being like, we would have seen. And like that made me the most suspicious because I was like, okay, so you're giving everybody an alibi? Like, you believe so hard she wasn't murdered that you're going to give all possibilities an alibi? Like,
literally. And then when Tessa came in, I didn't think it was her because I thought that was too obvious. Like, she was following them. Like, if you're going to be a murderer,
that's what it stopped for me.
Anyway, so stay tuned for our next thoughts on the book and what our next book of the month is going to be. And
in the next video.
We love you.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.